All right, fifth graders, let's take a look at estimating quotients. So we know with division, when we divide, our numbers generally get smaller. So we're going to keep that in mind as we make our estimates for these different problems. And we also have to keep in mind what happens when we divide by a number less than 1, because it does change things up a little bit. So I'm going to look at my first problem. And again, they have provided me the answer, and this is what you're going to see on your activities that you're working on today. So 40 and 5/10 divided by 3. With dividing, our estimates don't always follow our rounding rules. Sometimes you just need to use close but easier numbers in order to be able to solve it in your head. The whole point of making an estimate is that the problem is easier and simple to solve in your head. You don't want to be dividing 2 times. So for this one, I'm going to keep this at 40. And I'm looking at my second number here, 3. I don't know what 40 divided by 3 is. That's not a fact that I know what it equals. However, if I move the 3 up to a 4, I know that 40 divided by 4 equals 10. And 4 is very close to 3, so this is good. This is a close but easier number, which tells me here that my answer should be close to 10. Well, if my answer is close to 10, I'm going to put my decimal point here, box out my whole number, which is to the left, and my whole number is 13. Is 13 close to 10? It is. Check. Let's go on to the next one. Again, 150. It's rounded pretty nicely for me. I'm going to do 150 divided by, now I see a 4 here. I'm going to pull out my basic fact, which is a 15. I don't know what 15 divided by 4 is, but I do know 15 divided by 5. So I'm going to go up to a 5. Now I haven't stopped because these are straightforward division problems. None of my numbers have been less than 1, so I can proceed as I normally would with division. Now here, 15 divided by 5 equals 3. I have no 0 to cancel out with this one, which means it comes to the end, and my answer should be close to 30. Well, here I have 3,772, 377 and 2/10, 37 and 72 hundredths, well that sounds close to 30, or 3 and 772 thousandths. That's not close. My answer is going to go, my decimal is going to go here to give me a final answer. And again, if I box out that whole number, you can see 37 is close to 30. When I take a look at this next one, I notice here that this number, 2 and 52 hundredths, is very small, and this number, 6/10, is less than a whole. So if I think about taking a whole and breaking it up into really small pieces, smaller than what it already was, I'm going to have a lot of them in the end. So this means that my answer is going to get larger. So I need to keep that in mind as I divide. So here, if I take 2 and 52 hundredths, I could round that to 3. And here, 6/10, you know what, I actually could round that to a whole. So I'm going to round that to a whole. Well, I can easily do this problem. 3 divided by 1 whole. 3 divided by 1 equals 3. So my answer should be close to 3. Notice how this, though, is larger than the number I started with. So if my answer is going to be close to 3, I'm going to come all the way over here so that I have just a 4 as my whole number. And 4 is close to 3. It's the closest I'm going to get. So my answer is 4 and 200 thousandths. And our last one. Here I have a very small number, less than 2, and I'm dividing it into 7 pieces or 7 parts. This tells me that my number is going to get very, very small. I'm going to round this number here to 2 wholes. And I'm going to divide the 2 wholes. Well, 7 is close to 10, so I'm going to use 10. Oh, you might be asking yourself, 2 divided by 10, Mrs. Tenney, I can't do that. Well, yes, you can. 2 divided by 10 is going to give you an answer that's less than a whole. But if you remember our tricks from the last unit, the 2 becomes your numerator and the 10 becomes your denominator, giving you an answer of 2/10, which I can write as a decimal, 2, 0 wholes, and 2 in the 10th place. So my answer is going to be very tiny. It's going to be near 2/10. So let's see if I can do that. Well, I know that I need to bring my decimal all the way over here to get a small number because this all has to be behind the decimal point. So here I have 2,210 thousandths. This is, if I look just at the tenths place, this is the closest I'm going to get. So this is where my answer should be. So as you're dividing and multiplying today, make an estimate. Remember, you might need to use close but easier numbers. Following our rounding rules exactly does not always work. You're going to use the answer to that estimate. So yes, you must solve the estimate. You're going to use the answer to that estimate to place the decimal in the answer that the book provided for you. So they're going to provide you with some numbers which will create the correct answer, and you're going to put the decimal in there to make it exactly what number it should be. Good luck.